Good evening, everyone. So, pardon the weird stream setup today. We are actually about to start with a new type of stream. So, many of you know. Actually, hold on. Good evening, everyone. So, pardon the weird stream setup today. We are. Hold on. Are actually about to start with a new type of stream. So many of you know. Actually, hold on. Good evening, everyone. So, pardon the weird stream setup today.
Yeah, the lag it was real. I do apologize.
Hold on.
I do apologize in advance because I'm watching the stream currently from my end to make sure that nothing is going crazy. So
About to start with
so yeah, I do apologize.
a stream. So
So now let's look at the Digimon card game. Now, many of you don't know the card game or have heard of the anime, but not played the card game or have heard of the original card game that came out I don't even know, the 90s. But this is the new rendition that has been released by Bandai Namco and Bandai TCG, and I know companies been really good with this card game, but I will admit it's it's not bad. Like, I like the card game. It's great. It's a great way for new people that want to get into the anime to get into the anime. And for people that want to start with the card game but can't afford it. Now, I know on the video in the stream it says, "Oh, it's the Digimon TCG tutorial app." Now, since they don't really show the card game as a physical thing to show, we have to improvise with this. So, also, I do apologize in advance if you do hear a lot of rustling around. I'm having to get all the cards around to show you and everything else. So, and I have some audio going in the background, so it's not as quiet. So, I do apologize there. I do. It's YouTube, but it's more for me to keep myself awake and sane for the stream. So let's get over to the cam for my little grabbers so we can show you the card game. And where's my mouse?
here we go. Good evening. Hi. So yeah, accidental hand reveal. Whoa. So yeah, so we're about to show you the card game. Let me get it. Like, yeah, deck box, funness, the whole TCG, and yeah, pardon the messiness of my bedroom. Yeah, stream setup, kind of whack. So here we are. So there are several different types of cards, color typings, and there are several different, three different types of cards. We have one are tamers, two are normal Digimon, and three are option cards. Now, option cards are going to be very detrimental to your deck. I have read the rules. You should have, in my opinion, you should have them in there, but it's not forced. I don't really think. Actually, no, scratch that. You should have option cards in there because it does help you with making your game and deck stronger. Now, for egg cards, you don't really need anything. You could have, say, for example, oh, you're running a red deck, which is a red color deck, which is more of your offensive. You don't want digi eggs. You don't really need digi eggs. You can have up from, and I quote, this is from the rules, 0 up to 5 cards per for the egg deck. Now this is completely separate from your main deck. Now, this doesn't mean you have to have that. Egg cards are, for me, I recommend them and kind of you should have them, but it's not forced. So let's look at the deck I have, and this is my Dragonkin deck, or what I call it, because I have a lot of dinosaurs, dragons, and a few other Digimon in there, but it's my baby. So let's show you guys the cards. So for context, this is an older deck. It's a starter deck combined with several different cards. So, well, here's one. So, hold on. I am going to move my camera down so you can see it. Actually, see where my mouse is? That is an egg card. Now, for context, at least I highly recommend having egg cards in your deck, but at the same time, you don't need them. And that's Greymon, Gigimon, and I have a few Gigimon, and then you're gonna see your first yellow different colored card, Koromon of the yellow cards. Every Digimon can either have a different variation of color or a different typing. So mostly different colorings of their cards, because I have a card in here that is, for our first example, if I can find it, if it's in this deck, I know it is because I need it. Let me see, where is my Agumon? Where did he go? Where did he go? That's one Agumon. That's another Agumon. Where's my Agumon at? Where is my Agumon? My Agumon. There he is. So, this is a dual type. Now, for context, dual types are different than normal, like, solid color cards, like where it has only one color. You can either play it in a normal yellow deck, as playing it as, okay, for example, I'm playing a pure yellow deck, no other color typings in there. I can play it as a yellow card in that deck. Now, it's different in this one because I do have a yellow Digimon in my egg deck. So he could digivolve from, so Koromon, during the breeding phase, if he is played or pulled out or flipped, he can then digivolve into my Greymon or my Agumon. Hold on, let me try to adjust my camera. I do apologize. So he can easily digivolve into my Agumon. Now, there is more typings to this. Like, for example, here is a normal solid Greymon card. Now, this is Geo Greymon from Digimon Data Squad. Yeah, Data Squad. And this is from, I think, let me check the set code. This is ST706. So this is from one of the first several starter decks that was released by Bandai to reintroduce the Digimon Card Game. Now, I will show you a few different cards. Now, for example, this, now you won't be able to see it because of the glare of my computer screen. I will bring it up just a bit. This is what we call an ace card. Now, ace cards are different. Now, when you can digivolve them from normal cards, and they follow the same rules as like our other dual type cards, but they have another function, and I will read it out to you. Ace, overflow -4. As this card moves from the field or under a card to an area other than those, lose 4 memory. So basically, if your card gets thrown to the trash, and that's another thing, the trash. Now, in like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, you have your discard pile in your graveyard. The trash is basically the same kind of place, and then some. So we'll be seeing like examples of that in like the digital version, because I do have a kind of app version that's not licensed by Bandai, not licensed by anybody. It is a fan project, which I like. I like fan projects that really shows the love for the community and love for the game. Because the app and the site and the application, it's amazing. I can't say I recommend it. Well, I can say I can recommend it, but I will warn you, it's constantly updating. The admin team and the development team are constantly developing it every day with new sets. There is a site that if you want to make a deck and actually look at it, like, or if you already have existing decks, you can do that. I will probably post it in my Instagram or on my YouTube when this video goes live there. Now, I will show you other cards. Now, you've now seen level 2, 3, and 6. And actually, you've already seen level 4s. There are level 5s in this deck, in every deck, because you really should have a diverse amount of cards and typings and levels. This is a level 5 Groundramon. Now, for context, this is a red card. There's a lot of different cards in this deck that are different colors. Now, this is just one unified type of card. Now, for example, with this Agumon, notice the difference in Agumon. This is from Data Squad. Now, a while ago when Digimon, this version of the card game was released, they created some special release packs and special event ones, or they call them the EX packs, which I really like. Now, during that time, I gotten into the card game, found them, was loving it, and I got in the set. Now, I'm not an impulse kind of player or buyer, but I got this as a slight gift, and I had pulled this. This is the special art Agumon with its original colorings of the background. This is what the original card game cards look like at least the R and then the border and where the name is. Now, I won't say anything or price wise with these cards due to the fact that they're now seen on the internet. People could take them. I don't want that happening because, one, these cards are one of my favorite things, and I have played this game since its inception, kind of, because I didn't know the card game existed again. But now it does, and when I found it in, I think, late or mid 2020, maybe 2021, I had fallen in love with the card game. My very first starter deck was one with Angemon and then Angelwomon. So finding that one and getting it was interesting because I'd never played the new card game. Now, there is more I have more decks. But if you want to learn the best way to play this and best way to go into the card game, I'd highly recommend reading the webcomic Digimon Liberators. Now, it's not going to really explain much of the card game. That's why the tutorial app, the one that's in this video, like being referenced, is going to help you learn the card game. I'd highly recommend you get that, learn the card game. Now, the meta is slightly different now from what I've played, because they say in certain packs, oh, you need a 4-card security stack. And that's where we're about to get to, because right now can't really show you, because it's really hard to set this up in a proper angle, because I my computer's plugged in so it doesn't die and everything else. So your security stack involves four, or in my opinion, and how I think the new meta is, 5 cards. You draw your first 5, look at it, go, oh, these are good cards. I think then keep them or mulligan. Now mulligan is basically, if you don't get the cards you want right away in your first pull, you throw them back in the deck, reshuffle, and then pull the new 5 cards, and then pull your security stack. Now, I will admit, learning this is going to be hard. I will admit that, and I'm a cat man on the internet, but it's easy to understand if you're following current meta or current game rules. Now, unlike Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, you cannot have 60 cards. That is not recommended or allowed. You have to have 50 cards per deck. I learned that the hard way because I didn't get to go to like a tournament, but I was like developing new decks to like create new ones, create new combos, everything. And I was like, oh, maybe it's like not Digimon, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, where you can have like 60 cards per deck. But that wasn't the case. When it comes to deck building, you need a decent amount of cards. Going from normal Digimon cards, your playing cards and or dual types, to your options, to your tamers. Now, with tamers, they can really help you. And same with option cards. I have in one of my decks a card called Ice Hammer. I think, now, don't quote me on it. Now let me look at my spreadsheet, this is just a me thing. I highly recommend having a spreadsheet for your cards, due to the fact of, in case you're at a tournament, like say you're at a tournament, you want to make sure you have your cards protected and safe, and not worrying about losing them at said tournament. So I have a card in here, and actually in the current deck you guys, in my Dragonkin deck that I'm showing you, called Red Memory Boost. Now, this card is a sort of different. Now, with these kind of option cards, it helps boost your memory count. And that's where actually I'm going to segue into a next topic. Memory. Now, you probably saw on my Agumon that you saw, like my old-fashioned looking Agumon, there was a little number. Now, I can show you, and on this Agumon, see the number on this corner? That is play cost. And the play cost involves memory. You start off I'm remembering correctly, you can start off at 0 and not do anything. You automatically start off at 0. The only thing you can do is do a card flip. Like if you start first, your breed phase, then segue into your opponent's turn. So say, for example, I have my eggs here. Now I know they're gonna blend into my desk, but then you have, and then you have it on the field. But you can also then play a normal level 3. So for example, this now if you play it without going into the breed phase or just out straight from your hand, the blue play cost is what you use. But if you're using the red circle under it, that is the Digivolve cost that you have to pay to basically use it. So then with this, you would automatically go on as a 0. Sorry. I'm going to adjust that as a 0, not adjusting or doing anything to your memory. Now, in that case, you end your turn automatically, or you should, due to the fact of not having a lot of stuff to do with your cards. So then it goes into your opponent's turn, blah blah blah, back and forth. But for you, you start off at 0. For them, since you didn't do anything that turn, they jump right to 3. I know it's gonna sound really bad and really wrong, but you're basically going back and forth. He uses all of his memory or goes into an extra memory boost. So say you had basically this. I play a card that's like, I can easily even use an example of a Digimon. One of my deck masters in here. Say I use Megidramon. This card. Look at its play cost. A play cost of 13 in a Digivolution cost of 5. You don't want to use that. You want to Digivolve. You don't want to just go like, okay, onto the field automatically. You really don't, because of the high play cost. If you go over 0 and you put any memory into your opponent's side, your turn's done. No ifs, ands, or buts. There's nothing you can do. You automatically end your turn. Now, if they do that same thing, it automatically scales up. So say I'm at 5 memory and I'm playing an Agumon, and then I'm like Gurimon or one of my other cards. I have a card in here that's like, say I play Magnastorm or Gigastorm. That is an option card that's worth, I wanna say, so that is a play cost of 7. I only have 5 memory. That would put me over by 2. That would then, if I'm thinking of it correctly, since you want it close to 0 as possible so your opponent only gets so many points, I think you only want it at a certain range. So I think now don't quote me on this. I think it's, if you have it at 7 or if you have it at 5 and you 7, I think you put your opponent automatically, because it put your opponent, I think, at 1 if I'm looking at memory correctly. So then your turn automatically ends. Like, you go over the line, you're done. No going back, no resetting, no turn to like finish. It automatically goes to your opponent's turn. Now your opponent basically does the same. It goes back and forth with point, like with the memory boost. Once you get your opponent's security stack to zero, you can initiate the final strike or final attack and end the game. Now, how do you do a security stack attack? Very simple. You don't have to directly attack Digimon in the game. You can make that an option, but you don't have to. So say you want to attack your opponent's security stack, but your opponent has a card that has the ability of block or blocker. That card automatically gets tapped and automatically blocks your attack. Now, this is where another thing is going to come in. See in the corner right there, right there, where it says 2000, that is called damage points. It all depends on your damage points. So say I have a Digimon that has 13,000 damage points. You have a Digimon that has blocker that only has 2,000 damage points. My Digimon automatically wins. That Digimon is destroyed. But the attack is then rerouted. So basically, you were planning to go for the security stack, automatically to that Digimon, no questions asked, and that Digimon's gone. That Digimon that you attacked and destroyed goes right to the trash. Now, this is where the game gets a little convoluted because because people, and I've even thought in the past, you have to play a level 3 right away to allow yourself to go into level 3, and then same with 4 and 5 and 6. That is not the case. You can automatically go, okay, draw, look, it's a level 3. Place it down, pay the memory cost. So if you have a card that is worth, the play cost is, like for my Agumon right here, it's a play cost of 3. Now, I have 3 memory. I still can attack. Once I go over the threshold, I can no longer attack. Now, if I were to do something like, let me see. Actually, wait. Do I have a run on my phone? Hold on. Hold on. Technical difficulties. What? Hold on. No, that's Gaia. That's Gaia Force. Never mind. Gigastorm. 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 Where's my Gigastorm? Okay. Oh, hold on. Never mind. This is from my pure red deck. Now, for context, this is a deck based with pure red cards. Some of them in here I do have as dual type card colors, but I have it in there because, well, they needed new cards and also deck restrictions. But could I show you guys like in here? So hold on, let me add a window capture. So hold on. Okay, this is our memory, and these are all the cards in like a singular deck. Hold on, I want to try to fluff and fluff. How do I make it full screen? Okay, hold on. You know what? Okay, we're fine. We're fine. But now, oh my goodness, oh my lord. But as you can see, I will minimize my hand cam. In cases like this, you can see beside. Okay, hold on. Let me move my currently broken VTuber model, which I'm using a PNG of. Actually, hold on. I do apologize for this because it's weird. So, as you can see, we have currently, and I will attempt to zoom in. There we go. You can openly see here's some of the egg cards. Now notice these are all their codes from like the sets they're in, and then you can see all their dual typing, everything. Now that's just one type of deck I own. There is my pure blue, which doesn't have many cards, but I've had to modify this deck a few times because I have had cards that don't really mesh. And then let's look. But here is my one deck that this was one of my hunt ones that I couldn't find. Now this is from Digimon Liberators. This is also a modified deck. So this is deck number 18. This is the what was deck number 18? I think it was Vortex Whirlwind or another one, but it's with Digimon Liberators, the webcomic. Now you can notice that I also have some of the rarities in here. You can notice the rarities from their corner near their cards. So in the small area for Gurimon, it's by the number. Hold on. If you notice it, that number 5, right there. This is a common card. Now you can find eggs aren't always in like packs because let's be honest, not everything's gonna be in a big pack. And I will admit that I've had packs in the past where I've gotten like no eggs, no egg cards whatsoever. But but let's show this because look, there is our hold on. Ah, because now here is now Fluffymon is a part of this deck. So is this option card, and notice the card number amounts. There's a few that can't go in too many times. But look, with eggs, you can. Oh my lordy, what the happy Sam heck? With eggs, or without eggs, it's 50 cards straight. With eggs, it's 54. When you get starter deck sets, you automatically get that 54 cards. No if, ands, or buts. You automatically get 54 cards. You can take it home, and if you have already an established collection, you can add cards to this or take out cards from this current deck and modify it to create your own custom deck. That's what I did. Or, uh, sorry, this camera is currently mirrored the opposite direction, so I'm having to learn all of this. You have to, you can easily modify any deck to have new cards or cards that you want that you think can work. So for this deck, originally, I did not have this one in here. This is Elder Ace. I got that from a set, and I added that in to modify the deck when I first got it. Because I came home, fixed it. Originally, this was one of the first decks I had early on before I got like a big ton of booster packs. Because if you want to buy like starter box sets of like Digimon booster packs, to buy a box, you will most likely pay upwards of $80 if you go like to a certain card shop. Now, certain card shops don't really sell the card game much, but eBay, Amazon, I'm recommending a place called TCG Player. They do a lot of card game. They have a lot of card games on their site. So if you're into Lorcana, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, for me, Digimon, and a few old card games I had, like Card Fight Vanguard, which is still currently going by a very good company called Bushiroad. And I don't think it's still going. I don't even want to say it flopped, but it was a good card game. It was like Vanguard called Future Card Buddy Fight. Now, this card game was interesting because think about this. You basically have one champion card, and then you have a flag card that you have to have automatically out on your field. If you don't, you basically can't do anything. And you openly have to like say the words of raise the flag. And you can say, I fight for Dragon World or anything else. Digimon totally different. I missed Future Card Buddy Fight. I have cards. I have a deck of cards from Future Card Buddy Fight, and that was it. One singular deck. Because you couldn't find them in card shops or at Walmart. Which sucks. I came in too late to the series to be able to play it. I don't think it gained much popularity here in the States. Because it was a Japanese card game. Unlike Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And now even Digimon that have the popularity, it didn't have it. And now, I'm not saying run to your closest Walmart, get Digimon cards, learn the game, and play it now. I've noticed in my local area, there is not a big player base of Digimon card game players. Does that suck? Yes, very, very much so. Now, do I think the card game deserves a little more love from my community, my town, everything? Yes, because I'm even admitting this. Card games can bring people together, even through indifference. You can understand one player by how they played their deck. For example, like I'm gonna use the Yu-Gi-Oh example again. The Cherry Blossom little fox kid card. Like, I'm not saying you're toxic, but dear God, please stop destroying my trap cards or blocking my trap cards. There aren't any Pokemon cards, at least I don't think that can do that, but there are a few in the pocket version of the game that will openly like ruin your day. Like that's not a joke. Hold on, I do apologize. I need to put on audio again because it is like I have YouTube on and I gotta fix my blanket because I'm cold. It is cold in my room. So now we're gonna hop into like what the fluff. We are now going to explain how you should like. And now I can actually go to back to my other screen. I do apologize for it looking like everything else. I can go right back here. Now, I've played the card game now for maybe a few years. Haven't had to play it around many people, but I've collected the cards. Each Digimon card set is different and has a different deck code. Well, I call them deck codes, but they're actually set codes. Like what like what Pokemon has, and also, I think what Yu-Gi-Oh has. Now, am I saying, oh hey, go out, get these cards, and learn the card game right away, and so you can play with your community? No, but I'm gonna say it. Go out, and if you get them, okay, learn.
But you should learn from a community that loves the card game. I'm not saying communities don't love the card game anymore. It's when it pulls a Yu-Gi-Oh, in my opinion, because it's kind of gotten convoluted. Like I played, I was around during 5D, the original when it was still going like GX Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and a little bit of Pendulum. Now with the new Link cards and everything else, it's it's more it's not more hard. It's harder to play the game now because you're having to learn so many new things. And even now, a lot of the cards that we used to use as kids are banned. Or for me, I have all five Exodia cards. They are still classified as banned cards or limited to one type or one card per part. There are still so many cards that are banned, like the Egyptian god cards, Slifer, Obelisk, and Ra. They're still all banned from current competitive play. There are then some magic cards that are banned still, or some spell cards like Pot of Greed. Understandable. That card you basically say in that card, let yourself pull two more cards or I think an extra card. Don't truly remember. For the Digimon card game, there are some banned cards or limited cards. Like I